and welcome to the Your Story channel on yourstory.in, a platform that gives voice to your very own story. I'm Deepika Bharadwaj, and today on the show with us we have Kalra, the founder and CEO of MakeMyTrip.com, India's largest online travel platform. Welcome to the show, Deep.
Thanks, Deepika.
To begin with, you finished your MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and were doing pretty well in corporate arena as well. What was the motivation to start all the way on your own?
The prime motivation was, I think, really to do something of my own. That was the first level. I worked in 3 good companies and I had excellent experiences with all. But I think there was something else which was kind of missing, and I've only discovered after a few years of doing my own thing that that's what I think really was filling the gap, which was doing your own thing, creating something new. Those are the 2 exciting things. Do your own thing, create something new. The internet, presented a perfect platform to build a new business. So it seemed like the right thing to do.
Deep, a lot of young graduates in India still fear taking up the entrepreneurial path. What is your take on the timing of when you start? Do you start fresh out of the college, or you gain some industry experience and then begin?
So I would always recommend that there's at least some amount of experience working in an environment. That being said, a lot of the best entrepreneurs in the world, particularly those on the web, have done it without any experience.
Right.
Most of them in the US and perhaps whether you look at Google, you look at Microsoft, you look at some of these, they've actually been almost dropouts. Well,
right.
Not in Google's case, but in Microsoft's case, they've done exceedingly well. I don't think that works for all. I think these have been specially talented and gifted people. I think it's those challenges that come at a later stage in the team building and the company building, you'd be much better prepared for them if you've actually worked earlier. I would by and large tell people, to perhaps a couple of good stints with 2 different companies, different kind of experience. You learn a lot from how large companies work. You learn a lot from superiors and seniors. And interestingly, I think you learn good things and bad things.
Okay. You had a finance background, Deep, but you started in the travel industry. What were your learning experiences, and would you share some tips for the entrepreneurs who would want to make a start in a field which is not their forte? Right?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the critical things to do is to pick an industry which is not too niche, particularly in India.
Okay.
And I think your business planning in terms of market estimation, how large this is going to be, that's super critical. I think you should get that right in the beginning and spend a lot of time on that. Okay. Because very often I'm meeting a lot of young and new entrepreneurs who are keen to jump onto entrepreneurship, which is very exciting. But sometimes they're getting into very niche areas, and I'm worried for them, and I do tell them that, listen, maybe it's too small to ever become large. So do your market sizing, do your estimation, get into something, then of course do a very, very frank assessment of what your skills are, what you can build with your product, with your technology, software, whatever it is, versus what's out there. Okay. So I think you need to do a very unbiased and rational assessment of barriers to entry. Okay. So, what if you have a great idea, but what will it take for someone to copy that? What will it take for an established larger player in a slightly related field to diversify into this and to crush you and kill you? I think these are something very realistic kind of assessments you need to do, and to actually play them out in terms of your move, next move. So it's all a game of war or chess, or whichever way you look at it, and you have to simulate some of these conditions.
For an online business, turning a visitor into a customer is really a challenge. What, according to you, really helps in making that transition happen?
Yeah, so that is really the crux of the matter. That is the holy grail of this business.
Right.
The e-commerce business or the online business is all about one. If you were to choose one metric you measure, I would choose conversion. So supposing someone put a gun to my head and said you can only measure one metric from now on, I would not measure profits, I would actually measure conversion. So I think the measure of stickiness is really key. And stickiness is how much time can you get people to spend on your site, stay on your site, and then come back to your site. So repeat, stickiness, all the same thing. Which in turn is a function of how valuable and how useful and relevant your content is. And content could be pure writing and pictures, but in our case it could be how good is our content, means how good is our inventory. When Deepika is searching for Delhi to Mumbai, does she get all the options? Is it very easy to use? So this user experience is probably the mother of all.
Okay.
So the user experience in a site, and it doesn't necessarily mean super clean and super, sleek and everything, and not enough. It's different for different users. You might like a lot of bling. I might like super clean. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what does the typical customer want. So we do a lot of usability testing. The user experience means the lower the friction you face on one side, the more the chances of you coming back to that side. Feeling comfortable, feeling at home.
We always hear that a number of entrepreneurs approach an investor for funding and only one of them was chosen. I want to sort of turn the situation around. What are the points that an entrepreneur need to keep in mind before choosing an investor?
Okay, so I think if you're in that enviable position where you get to choose your investors, my learning is that, and I have chosen many investors, so now I can tell you with some confidence, and at one point there was no choice, but now there is choice. Go for the individual. Choose a good human being. It sounds like a very, very simple statement, but it's actually a pretty loaded and heavy statement, because people often go for brand.
Yeah.
Don't go for brand because you get carried away. The people with the brand may have their own tantrums, star tantrums, all kinds of things. Don't go for a hotshot big name as an investor. It doesn't matter. Actually go for a really bright person and a good person and a person who is empowered within the company. So go for a partner who can call the shots. Some partners can't, because very often in some funds the shots are called back in the US. Go for a partner who, while sitting on your board table in a board meeting, can call the shots. So if you need to go ahead and make a serious investment somewhere, be it within the company or be it inorganic, an acquisition, someone who's going to bankroll you and back you up. And I think a good human being is important because you level up and you become friends. I've by and large not gone for brand, not gone for the highest valuation. I've gone for the nice guys. I like quick decision makers. I typically have gone for quick decision makers. Okay. A lot of investors tend to get into analysis paralysis. That's really bad. I mean, you don't want that kind of guy, because as entrepreneurial companies, you move really, you want to move fast. Okay. And you don't want people where they say, oh, wait for the next board meeting. So go for people who are like that, easy to reach, easy to approach.
Okay. In the end, would you want to share some tips for the budding entrepreneurs?
Okay, I try to summarize a lot of these, but that's what I feel. Of course, choose your field well and choose enough in, there needs to be a large enough field. Defensible business plan, competitive advantage very clear. Play to your strengths and play to other people's strengths. I think the whole paradigm in my mind has changed, where don't work on people's weaknesses. I mean, it's nice to alert them about it and know about your own weaknesses, but rather than focusing on that, flip it around. It's like that half glass, glass half full, glass half empty. Focus on people's strengths and put them in those kind of roles where they will bloom. Hiring, like I said, it's really critical to hire people who are, actually better than you in their own fields. I have no shame in admitting all my direct reports in their respective fields are much better than me. Otherwise, they won't get hired. If I know more than my CMO in marketing, then why am I hiring him? At a senior level, you need really good people out there. I think that's very important. So your core team, how you choose, whether they're co-founders, and be liberal with parting with equity. I mean, play the big game. I mean, don't have those very amateurish dreams of being a big fish in a small pond. Doesn't work. That small pond is irrelevant. You have to be in the ocean, and if you have to be in the ocean, then if you want to be a big fish there, then you need the right kind of partnership model out there, right kind of people to work with, and play for the big role. Don't be limited in your vision. Think big.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Deep. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks to you for joining us. We will be back with more. Keep watching.